Hey, good morning. Welcome to the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. Happy Metric Monday. It is a Monday here, and I hope you're having a good time. And, it's back to work, right? Okay, we got to get up earlier and doing this show because I got some funky lights coming in through the window. So we are going to start making sure we're way before 7:30. But I had a lot of stuff to do today because it was Monday. Had a lot of catch-up work. So anyway, I am mumbling like crazy. And today is Metric Monday, and I want to talk about metrics that age out. Some people think they just use the same metric forever and it still has value. And I want to argue it doesn't always have value forever. And I'm a proponent of the acceleration metric that I create and how I measure it and even compare teams. Oh my God, how do you compare teams? Well, it looks at compare them how they're growing, but maybe the metric doesn't work all the time, right? There's a point where it has zero value. Hi, Bubbles. What's up? What are you doing? You coming up here? Come on, Bubs. Oh, she's here. You want to say hi to everyone? Come here. Oh, there she is. There's the Bub girl. She's here and she just clawed my leg. Anyway, so I want to talk about how the metrics kind of expire over time and how you need to change them out. I'll give you an anecdote and a story from previous experiences. So this is 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. This is the Bubble Show. No, it's not the Bubble Show. Though I'm trying to do a Chat GPT show. We need to do another episode. And for some reason, she's licking her lips, which means she got into something. What did you get into? Did you eat something you weren't supposed to eat? I think so. She's funny. Anyway, so 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, where we talk about Scrum and Agile in a practical and tactical way so you can bring value to your customer without working extra hours and have some fun along the way. So, what are you up to? There she comes. She's coming through. There's a tail. No, that's mine. She's trying to get into my coffee. Anyway, so my Metric Monday. Let's talk about this. Let's get moving on this topic. So, and there goes a tail. Just laughing. You gotta laugh at yourself sometimes. If you can't laugh at yourself, it's not gonna work. Hi, Bubbles. So she's just putting her tail in the show. So okay, don't move the microphone. Now she's moving the mic. Now she's moving the whole camera. Would you and your big giant cat? Giant cat. Okay, so the idea is what I like to do. I don't like to compare velocities to teams. There's some people in SAFe is like, oh, they should be a certain velocity. And there's agile coaches that will, say they can't compare teams, but then they'll compare teams. And I don't like using velocity because every team is different. So I created a thought process of acceleration, which is the change in velocity from sprint to sprint. That you can compare between teams to a point if they're at the same kind of position along the time in their maturity migration. They're all new teams, just put them all together. First time they've ever worked together, perfect, right? But if the team's been working for a while, get the agile idea, get the Scrum, and are continually growing and everything like that, and trying new things, you can't quite do that. So what happens is it doesn't change much. I'll give you an example. I used to work at the Philadelphia School District years ago, and they had a metric. They would measure different schools along the school district and how they're performing. One of their metrics was the improvement, right? They would measure improvement. And if you weren't improving a lot, then you got a worse score for the school. However, that does not work for the high percentile schools where a lot of the grades or they're high achieving. They're all like, let's say they're in 90 percentile. So they're in the 90 percentile. Kids are really smart, doing really well. They're not going to grow as much. When you're in that 90 percentile of growth and productivity, you're not going to grow like 20%, 30%, because now you can only grow like 1%. So they get a worse rating, which made no sense. Where the schools that were not really focused on or helped out enough, and they have a lot of room to grow, they would grow 10%, 20%, whatever they would, and they would show really well. So that was a metric that doesn't work in all cases. some people, and I was amazed how people who were statisticians would think these metrics would apply to everyone. I'm like, well, the metric doesn't apply to a group that's in the high 80s, 90 percentile of productivity. It may work with the lower percentile because you're trying to grow them. There's a different purpose, different metric. So you have to come up with different things. But I just want to share with you that you can't use the same metric all the time, and you have to examine that. And what do you do? And I'm going to talk about that next week. What you do to break, or you know what? I'll talk about it on 2 for Tuesday, because how do you grow past that? So you have this metric. So this will lay the thing for tomorrow. And what do you do? But I just want to share that you have to be willing and understanding that sometimes metrics don't apply anymore, and not with the excuse, well, we're just leveling out. It's like, if they haven't tried to grow, like if they don't do retros and they don't do stuff to change the dynamic, don't let them, well, we're a mature team, we just work at this level. You don't do anything to change that level, right? So there's a difference there. You have to be willing to push back a little bit and say, well, you're not really a mature team. A mature team is where the velocity is going and they have grown a lot, and you see a lot of growth, and at a point where they're just kind of getting stagnant. And then you have to think of different things, which we'll talk about tomorrow. But if they're just level stable because they haven't done anything, right? They haven't done any retrospective. They haven't tried a Kaizen. They haven't tried things that come up with different ways to code, and they're still manually coding, manually testing, doing sloppy stuff, right? Then you don't get them out of the acceleration metric, right? So there is a point where you judge that. If they've done that, they've automated a lot of stuff, doing new technologies, adding new capability and stuff like that. And if you're just getting small growth that you can measure, you're just getting a little tiny growth, well, maybe the acceleration metric is not something to do. And you definitely don't want to use it to compare to other teams who are just forming. You know, well, why aren't you accelerating? You're like the best team, because they're in the 90th percentile already. And you're not going to see that acceleration growth unless you come on the show tomorrow, and we'll talk about how to get past that, where it's a minor growth. So I wanted to share that with you. It's important to understand that metrics do expire. They do become obsolete as a mature team. Teams mature, and you have to use different metrics, and you have to work with your team. How do you want to measure it? Oh, by the way, the acceleration metric could come back depending on what your team does next. And again, we'll talk about that tomorrow on our 2 for Tuesday. So this is Metric Monday. I just want to share with you that metrics do expire, and sometimes they become obsolete and they age themselves out of the process because the teams become so mature, the metric doesn't apply to them anymore. So I wanted to share that, give you a heads up on that one. So just remember, metrics do age out as teams mature if they mature in the right way, not the lame ass excuse, well, we are what we are and we haven't done anything. Well, you haven't done anything from a challenging perspective. So just remember to keep an eye out for that. And I want to wish you all the best. I want to wish you a happy Monday and happy scrumming. And we'll see you tomorrow. And I hope you enjoyed your weekend. You know, the holiday's coming up really quick again. 4th of July is just down around the corner. It's like a month away. This is the 5th of June. So we don't have much more time. So hope you had some fun. Hope you got to enjoy some fun things with your team and your families and everything like that. So take care, enjoy the day, and we will see you tomorrow.